Habituation, our driving theme, is relevant to creativity and innovation. It's relevant to the operation of markets, and it's fundamental consumer behavior. And I'm going to confess now that the topic of habituation, understood as a fundamental grounding of human behavior, is novel. I'm acutely aware that I have a tiger by the tail. That is, I have a topic that's very strong and very fast, and my arms aren't able to hold on to the tiger, and I'm counting on you all to do more with the topic than I've been able to do. So we're really in on the foundations of something that is, in social science at least, new. Here's an example of habituation. If people are on a vacation in some place very beautiful, there's a beach, it looks a lot like that. You can see that in the back, yes? That's a really nice beach. Guess when they're happiest? If it's, let's suppose, a 10-day vacation, what's their happiest time? 43 hours in. 43 hours in a 10-day vacation is the happiest time. Here's a second example. Suppose I'm advertising a product and I say something untrue about it. I have a new book out. If you buy my new book, you'll never get cancer. That's false. But let's keep at it. One of the nice things about my new book is that if you purchase it, you're not going to get cancer because the book has anti-cancer properties. Now, I did something just now that's terrible. I said something untrue about my book, but also in some part of your mind for the rest of your life, you're going to be thinking, Cass Sunstein has a book, which if you read it, you won't get cancer. One of the most powerful effects in behavioral science is the illusory truth effect. It's relevant to marketing, regrettably. The illusory truth effect means if you repeat a statement twice, people are more likely to believe it's true. If you repeat it 3 times, they're still more likely to believe it's true. If you believe it 7 or 8 or 9 or 12 times, it's not a lot more likely to be believed as true than if you repeat it 3 times, but it's a little more likely. The illusory truth effect means that people tend to find credible statements that they've heard multiple times. A few years ago, my neuroscientist co-author got a group of people to participate in an experiment, diverse people, for all present purposes, humanity, and not a tiny sample, and said, would you like to participate in an experiment in which you can get some money if you cooperate with a stranger? So people are asked, come into this experiment. If you cooperate with a stranger, you'll get some money. A number of the people who agreed to participate in the experiment are taken aside and told, you can actually get more money if you lie to the stranger. If you lie, you'll get more money. If you cooperate, you'll get some money. And the question is, what will humanity do? These aren't terrible lies. These are lies about a game in which if you cooperate, you earn some money. You lie, you earn more. It turns out that a lot of people lie, but that's not interesting. What's interesting is that their brains are hooked up to a monitor of what's happening inside their head. And on the first lie, the part of the brain that registers intense emotions, the amygdala, is on fire. People are lying, but their brain is telling them aloud, no. And that's how people are. The amygdala is firing when people lie. That's not that interesting. It's a little interesting. Here's what's very interesting. As the day proceeded, people who were lying showed a decreasing reaction from their amygdala. the amygdala over time started to say, okay, I guess we lie. And the diminishing neural activity in the amygdala was associated with more lying and lying with greater magnitude. These three examples of the illusory truth effect, the vacation, and lying are actually the same story. They're all stories of habituation. Now I think we can see something about experiences as opposed to goods. And it's, I think, surprising. People often buy a good thinking if I get a refrigerator or a motorcycle, I'll have that for the rest of my life. If I take a vacation or go to the opera or go to a sporting event or hear Taylor Swift, I recommend it, by the way. I have heard Taylor Swift. She's even better than she's supposed to be. Okay, and so this is a good example. People think they have an experience, it's very transitory. It's just momentary. And if they have a good, it's for decades or years. In terms of how the brain operates, it's just the opposite. My experience of going to a Taylor Swift concert, that's a lifelong thing. I think about it with amazement and a sense of luck all the time. That's true of amazing experiences of all kinds. Goods are more transitory. The amazingness of the refrigerator or the new phone is a 2-day experience, or maybe a 2-week experience. After a while, it's just background noise. Part of the reason experiences are thrilling compared to goods is that they create a kind of music rather than tedium. Okay, now let's talk about consumption, life, and market, shall we? People care about 3 things. This is data, this isn't speculation. People want to be happy, they want to be smiling, they also want to have their life to have meaning. When I worked in the White House, I encountered an economist who was walking kind of near the president, and I said, "How are you?" And he said, "Well, in terms of happiness, terrible. Every day is hard and awful, but in terms of meaning, wonderful. My life is very, very meaningful." I asked him how he was. I didn't expect that kind of answer. I kind of tried to run away. It was a little too much information. But he was saying to work for the government wasn't a happy experience, but it was intensely meaningful. And people will trade off happiness for meaning and vice versa. More recent work suggests that people care about a third thing, variety. They want their life to have psychological richness, understood as diversity of experience. Okay, there are dishabituation entrepreneurs in every field. Kant was a dishabituation entrepreneur in philosophy. Steve Jobs was a dishabituation entrepreneur with respect to products, disrupting things by triggering time and again a surprise signal. Martin Luther King was a dishabituation entrepreneur who kind of held a mirror up to practices and made people think these monsters aren't things to which you should be habituated. He dishabituated white and also black people to segregation.